Wife. I am Shuanicarenee. It is so good to be back with you all another time that I can sit in front of you all and pour out and share some of the things that God has placed on my heart to share with you all. Again, I am Shuanicarenee. Thank you so much for tuning into the Scent of a Wife. And the last time that we were here, episode 7, I talked about the importance of choosing your correct friends and the importance of choosing your circle wisely, why that's so important. And as I was thinking, I was like, I need to bring this full circle and really explain to the ladies why it's so important of choosing the correct circle, of choosing your friends and your circle wisely. Like, what does that have to do? You may be asking, what does that have to do with me being a good wife, with me having the scent of a wife? So before I go any further, let me rewind, and let me talk a little bit about the scent of a wife. So as we know, SCENT is an acronym and it stands for Secret Consecration for an Esther's Noble Transformation. So the scent of a wife, the purpose of the scent of a wife is threefold. First of all, it is to help you. This ministry is to help you to become the wife that God has called you to be. It's to help you become the wife that you want to be for yourself as a wife. And then also, this ministry is to help you to become the wife that your husband needs and that your husband wants you to be. So welcome to the scent of a wife. If you've never seen me, if you've never tuned in, welcome. I say welcome. Welcome. But I'm being silly. But there are other episodes. Please go back and check them out. Again, this is the second part of the series where I am talking about the importance of choosing your circle wisely. And today I want to focus on what does that have to do with you being a good wife? Well, here's it in a nutshell. The first thing is that as we choose our circle wisely, the Bible tells us what? The Bible says that if we are faithful over a few, then God will make us ruler over many. Now, that you can apply that to a lot of different things. But what we have to understand is that it's so very important to understand that that's the same way with God as he looks at us to become a wife. So if you are not a good steward over the friends that you choose, over the circle that you choose to surround yourself with, the circle that you choose to, lean on, pray with, get knowledge from, you give knowledge to them. If you're haphazard about the friends that you choose, then why would God send you his son that he has been preparing, that's after his own heart, his son that is going to love you, and his son that's called from him? Why would he bless you with his son and you can't choose a friend wisely? That's one of the first things. Another reason why you want to choose your friends wisely is because, believe it or not, ladies, men are more, sometimes there's like old cliches that we give to men, that we say about men. We say, oh, men, they only think about one thing, or they're not smart, or, they don't think with their big head, all this kind of stuff that we say, right? But one thing that we don't give credit to our kings for is that they are perceptive. They are really, they pay attention to a lot more than what we give them credit for, and they watch you. So if you meet a man, let's say, ladies, you're not married yet, and you're waiting on your king, you're waiting on your earthly king, and you want to be married, and you meet this man, and he hangs out with you and your friends, and he sees that you're around women who are, very selfish, women who only, talk about themselves, women who only take from you. That's one thing I had to learn years ago, is that no man likes to be with a woman who allows herself to be used and who allows herself to be abused by her friends. A man that really loves you, he's going to say, no, baby, you're worth more than that. You don't deserve to have that kind of friend in your life. You don't deserve to have someone who's going to take advantage of you. So now it's one thing if that friend turns out to be that way, because people change. But if you are consistently surrounding yourself by women who mean you no well, women who are not good for you, women who don't pray for you, they only want to talk about you, or they only want to talk about other people, they only are concerned with surface level things. They're not able to really grasp and hold a conversation. I'm not trying to put down ladies. I'm just being real here, that men pay attention to that and men look at that. And so as a man is considering you to become his wife, then he's going to look at, okay, what kind of people is she surrounding herself with? What kind of friends does she have? How does she care about herself? Because your friends, your circle, they are a reflection of who you are. The Bible tells us what? The Bible asks a rhetorical question. How can two walk together unless they agree? And that's not just in marriage. That's not just in business relationships. That's in every aspect of life, especially our friendships. How can two people walk together and consider themselves friends if they don't have some type of mutual agreement, if they don't have some type of common denominator, that thing that holds them together, that thing that they find in common? Now, I am very aware that there are times and seasons for everything. I am very aware that there could be somebody that God places into your life where you are meant to be a mentor, where you are meant to, help them, where you are meant to be that example that they need. But that should not be the case for all of your friends around you. One thing about me is that I am always going to surround myself with women of God, with women who are where I want to be. And not that I envy, not that I am wanting anybody's life, because I love Shanika and I love the woman that God has made me to be. I don't want anybody else's life. I don't covet anyone. But there is a such thing as admiration and a sense of, this is where I want to be. So I'm going to surround myself, not just with women. I'm not just talking about marital status either. I'm talking about business-wise. I'm talking about finance-wise. I'm talking about wisdom-wise. I'm talking about in every aspect of life. I choose to surround myself with women who do what? With women who edify, with women who pattern themselves after the Bible, women who are, if you're married, who you're a good wife, women who have good husbands, women who love themselves. And so, ladies, it's very important for us to understand that as we are preparing to be a wife, and as we are getting and walking into having the scent of a wife, then all of that matters. A wife is not just someone who's married, because I'm a firm believer that you can be married and not necessarily be a good wife. You can be married and not necessarily be a good husband. So your marital status is not what makes you have the scent of a wife. The scent of a wife comes from knowing within your knower, within your, spirit man, within the woman that you have been created to be, that you are walking in that Proverbs 31, 10 through 31, that tells us that the woman, a virtuous woman, her price, her value is far above rubies. Now, another reason why, and how choosing your circle wisely really helps you with becoming a wife is that it helps you to focus on becoming better. Have you ever noticed that when you are around your friends who encourage you, your friends who lift you up, your friends who really have it going on, right? Have you ever noticed that it makes you want to be better? It makes you want to step your game up. I don't want to be around anybody who makes me feel like, oh, Shanika, you're just the bomb. Nothing about you should change. Nothing about you, needs to come up. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to be around people who are always putting me down, who always have something negative to say, who can never celebrate with me. That's not what I'm saying. I don't want those kind of friends, because those kind of friends are shady, and those kind of friends are not your friends. Okay, I think I'll take a sip right there. We don't want those kind of friends. We don't want those kind of friends who pull us down and they're secretly envious of us, right? But we do want friends by virtue of their lives, by virtue of who they are as people, by virtue of the product of the life that they live. You look at them and you say, you know what? She's a bad woman. That's a woman there that has her stuff together. And so it makes you want to become better. And the same thing for you. Your friends should look at you and say, you know what? She's a good woman. You know what? She's a bad girl. She's a bad woman. I want to really step my game up, because iron sharpens iron. And so as you are around people who build you up, people who are where you want to be, people who have good morals, people who have good character, and good character is about doing the right thing even when no one is looking. People like that, women like that, what they do is they cause the best part of you to stand up. They cause the best part of you to flourish and to grow and to come out. And so what happens is you become a better version of who you were yesterday. Every day, our goal should be, I want to be better than what I was yesterday. Every day I wake up, one of my prayers, I have a lot of, prayers that I pray every day, but one of my prayers is, God, show me me. Put a mirror in front of me. It may not be pretty. It may not be something that I necessarily want to see, right? But show me me. Show me the woman that I am, so that I can become the woman that you desire for me to be. And if we're never willing to take a look in the mirror, if we're never willing to take a look and to say, you know what, this is an area that I can improve in. This is an area that I can improve in. If we're never willing to do that, then what happens is we find ourselves going through life and we're not progressively getting better, but we're staying stagnant, and we become stale, and we become, out of date and out of sync with what God is saying and what God is doing in the current time. And we don't ever want to be that way. We want to be in a place to where God can say, that's my daughter, and I trust her, and I love her, and she's making a conscious effort to become better. She's making a conscious effort to surround herself with people who motivate her, with people who know my word, with people who are not going to tell her everything that she wants to hear, with people who are going to, be a friend to her. Because as you guard your heart, see, the Bible tells us to do what? To guard our hearts. So that's another reason why having the correct circle is so important, because you are guarding your heart. That way, do we not understand that if we don't choose our circles correctly, it causes a breakdown in us guarding our heart? And then we are more susceptible to meeting men who mean us no good. The only way I can tell you that is by experience. There was a point in my life, and looking back, I'm just going to be transparent. When I was in the situation, I didn't realize that I had these toxic people, this one particular person I'm thinking about, around me. I didn't realize that I wasn't doing a good job of choosing my circle wisely. So I let this woman into my life, and this was years ago, but I let this woman into my life and counted and considered her as a friend. And what happened is, because I didn't guard my heart in that area the way that God wanted me to, then what happened is that I let my guards down in other places and in other areas. So the man that I met, even though it was my choice, even though it was something to where I chose, I'm not putting the fault on anyone. Hear me clearly. That relationship is what I chose to embark upon. But because I counted this woman as my friend and I wasn't wise, I didn't use wisdom, I didn't see in it what I needed to see in it, then what happened is I began to assimilate. And I began to accept what I knew God did not have for me, because this woman who I had gotten close to was doing what I felt was, oh, okay, so she got her man, she got da. So, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to, have me a friend. And we hanging out together. We, we going on double dates. We doing all this stuff. And it's like, but at the same time, I wasn't stopping to consider that, wait a minute, she's going nowhere fast. And because I'm around her, I'm thinking that this is okay. I've allowed myself to succumb to peer pressure. I allowed myself to try to blend in and not be who I knew God had called me to be. All because I had, formed this friendship with this woman who was not where I was. And I'm not trying to put her down. I'm not trying to insult her in any kind of a way. I'm just being real. And I think if we all take a moment and just sit back and just really be honest about the situation, we all have those times where we say, you know what, that friendship wasn't a good look for me. I don't know what I was thinking about. I don't know why I went down that path, but I should not have allowed this person to get as close to me as I did. And that's my fault. I'm saying this again because I don't want anybody, in the comments or feeling like I'm blaming anybody for anything in my life. I'm not. I'm simply talking about how your circle really depicts and really can determine, what you do in life and how far you go and what you consider as okay and as acceptable, because it all is linked in together. It all meshes up together. And then also, another thing that we have to consider, ladies, is that, if you are, and maybe because of who I am in Christ, and I know, part of my calling is I do have a spirit of discernment. And once I actually just allow myself to really accept what I'm seeing, it's awesome. But there are a lot of times God shows me stuff and I discount it, or I push it off, or I want to give people the benefit of the doubt. But one thing that I notice, if I just sit back and I just watch, sometimes I watch a group of women. I'm a people watcher. And so if I'm in a restaurant and I watch a group of ladies come in, there are times when I can see a young lady who may be in that group, and I can tell that she's not comfortable. I can tell that she feels so awkward, and that she is simply going along to get along. That she's in the group because, maybe one person introduced her to the girls, or maybe, she knew all of them and they went to school or whatever. But I can see that discomfort. I can see the fact that she's trying to blend in and she really doesn't fit in. And as I watch, I realize that, I begin to pray for her. And if God leads me to, I may say something to her, but most times I don't. But the prayer I pray for her is, God, don't allow for her to succumb to wanting to be accepted and she miss what you have for her, what you have for her in the path for her. And I'm saying that to say, I have been there for a long time. I was that girl. I was that woman, that young woman. Now I have grown and I have matured, but I was that person who I went along to get along. There were things inside of me that I did not acknowledge, my gifts, my callings, because I didn't want to stand out. I didn't want to stick out. I did not want to be the strange one out. And so because of that, I did not push myself forward. So I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to come back next week, and I'm going to tell you how I broke free from that and how that has changed my view on my future husband. Okay? Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time.
Hey, don't forget to choose your circle wisely. Hey, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. She's a scent of a wife.